Hi, it's Miss Patty from Sunday School. I hope you had a really wonderful Easter last week. Mine was very fun. I got to spend some time with my husband, even though we didn't get to do things like have the grandkids and Easter eggs. We still had a really nice time because we were remembering about Jesus and the fact that he died. That was sad. And then he came back, and that was the best story in the Bible, wasn't it? Well, today I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Bible. Remember this Bible that we usually have in our class? And I've told you that there's the stories in the Old Testament and then the stories in the New Testament. And I wanted to kind of show you, see how thick this Bible is? All of these, all the way up to here. This whole part, see that whole big part? That's the Old Testament. The New Testament is a small part of the Bible. And the ending there has it's probably about this much in the New Testament. There's the Old Testament, really a big part. See, and then the New Testament is kind of a small part. And in the New Testament, we have the Gospels, and those are the stories that were written down about what the apostles learned from living with Jesus and what Jesus did and said. And right here, this part of this Bible, just 77 pages. Those are the Gospels, and there's 4 of them: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You could say that. Say it with me. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's right. Those are the 4 Gospels. And right after the Gospels end, the very next story in the Bible is called the Acts. And that's where our story comes from today. It's from the Acts of the Apostles. Put my Bible carefully down here. Let's start with a song, though. Are you ready? I'm going to do it standing up. You might like to do it that way, too. Here we go. Sing it with me if you can. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. And then we have to think of something to do. So let's stomp. Are you ready with your feet? Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Good. Let's try clapping. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Can you snap? Try it. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Can you sing and snap at the same time? Okay, try blinking and singing. Here we go. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. Can you whistle? Do as I do. Do as I do. Do as I do if you can. Do as I do, do as I do, do as I do if you can. One more. Can you try the winking? Wink as I do, wink as I do, wink as I do if you can. Wink as I do, wink as I do, wink as I do if you can. Blinking is 2 eyes, winking is 1 eye. Kind of hard to do. You can look at yourself in the mirror and see if you can do it. Our story today is very interesting, and I'm going to stop for a minute so that I can put this camera in a place where you can see the flannel board. There. Did you notice I have a different flannel board today? The other board was big and I didn't really need all of that. And if I use this little board, I can fit it right on my easel here. So we're going to try it with a smaller board today. Our story today is about some women who didn't have enough to eat. How do you think they felt? Yeah, they felt hungry, didn't they? And a little bit sad because they didn't have enough to eat. And some of the men noticed that they didn't have enough to eat. Can you tell which one's thinking about that? I think it's this guy here in the blue. He's noticing that these women didn't have enough food to eat. And he talks to his friend, and the friend says, "Hey, I have an idea. We can't all be helping these women who need more food to eat." The women were actually called widows, and that's because their husbands had died. So they didn't have anybody to help them with getting food. And the people wanted to share. They wanted to be sharing Jesus' word and telling everybody about the life of Jesus and the miracle, so everybody could believe and know about God and that Jesus had been the Messiah and that he came back to life. But they also knew that Jesus always took care of people. And so they wanted to take care of people, but they also wanted to tell about God's word. So they said, well, why don't we have some people who help these widows? We'll have some people who take care of others, and then some people who go out and teach about God's word and about Jesus' life. So they had to figure out who was going to do which job. And they got together and they picked some people. They picked some men that could help these widows. How many men do you see there? Let's start over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They picked 7. And my Bible, for this part of the Acts, has a little title and it says, Choosing the 7. So they chose 7. And those 7 were to go out and help get food for the women. And that's what they did. And then the others were able to go and tell about Jesus and his life. They were able to go and teach. So everybody can help in some way. You can help too. Our story today is about sharing with others, and it's especially about sharing food. And if you have some food to share, that would be good. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a while. But maybe what you share is if you have a stuffy, a teddy bear or something, and you have lots of them, maybe you could give one to somebody else. We already talked about sharing clothes that you grow out of, but maybe you have something else. Maybe you have some books that you could give, or you might have some extra food at your house. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's look at the lesson here on our paper. This is kind of a fun one. Here's what it looks like. I'm going to try and make this so you can see the whole thing here. It worked for me earlier. What happened? Okay. Can you see that all right? I'm going to try and get the computer. It has my camera on it. A little bit closer here. So if you look carefully, you can see that these women have baskets that are full of food. It looks to me like they have maybe a couple of loaves of bread. There's 2 carrots, maybe a cucumber. Maybe these look a little bit like watermelons. I'm not quite sure what those are. I'm going to call them pineapples because they have the top like pineapples. They might be some kind of a squash. I'm not sure. And then look at these women. These women do not have full baskets, do they? The baskets are small. They're not really small. The baskets are the same size, but they are not full. I'm looking for my stickers. Well, if you had this piece of paper at home in Sunday school, here's the stickers that we have. Do you see that the stickers have different amounts of food in it? And these ladies have different amounts of food in their basket. Look at this poor lady. How does she feel? Huh. Yeah, she's really sad and really hungry. If we were going to pick one of these, which one do you think we should pick to give her? I say, let's give her the one that has the most food in it. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll just put that right up here. That would make her smile, wouldn't it? Now she has as much as they have. She has 2 loaves of bread, 2 carrots. Oh, she actually got 2 cucumbers, 2 melons, and 2 pineapples. This lady only has 2 loaves of bread. This lady only has 2 watermelons. Let's see which stickers we should give them. Yeah, I think I would give the lady that has 2 loaves of bread, I think I would give her this one because it doesn't have any bread in it. It has all the other good things. So let's put that over here in her basket. Now this lady's just got melons. How about we give her this one? That one doesn't have any melons, does it? Let's give her that one. And then that means this lady should get something. This one has 2 melons and 2 loaves of bread, and she doesn't have any melons or any loaves of bread. So that would be a fair way. If this is the food we had, that would be a fair way to give everybody some of the food. And that's what we do when we have extra. We try and make sure that everybody gets some. I'm going to move my flannel board story for a minute here. Oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm going to use it, but I'll just put something else up there. You know, one way you can share is by making food. And I'm not going to make it with you, but if we were in Sunday school, we would probably make these gingerbread cookies. Hold the recipe here for a minute so your parents can see it if they want to. These are my favorite gingerbread cookies, and I love to make them with children. A good thing about these cookies is they don't have any white sugar in them, and they don't have any eggs. So people who can't eat eggs can eat these cookies, and lots of cookies have eggs, so it's kind of fun to have these. I'll tell you about the recipe. The first thing you do is you have to heat your oven up to 350 degrees. And then, usually in a mixing bowl, but you could do it by hand, you take a stick of butter, you know how it comes in a cube, and you take half of that because you need 1/4 cup of butter. And then you'd get some honey because it doesn't have any white sugar, but it does have a little bit of honey for sweetening it. I want to show you measuring cups. Measuring cups come in different sizes. This cup is 1/3. This cup is 1/2, and this cup is 1. So what that means is that if you wanted 1 cup, you would fill this right up to the top and level it. This one that's 1/2 means you could put 1, 2, whoops, that wasn't the half. This one's the half. You could put 1, 2 cups, and it would be 1 whole cup. This one, 2 of these, makes 1 of this. This one is the 3rd cup, and 3 of these makes 1 of those. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 makes 1 whole cup. And this recipe calls for us to have 1/3, just 1, not 2 or 3, 1/3 of a cup of honey. Do you know what molasses is? I use this one. This is Grandma's molasses. It's liquid, and it's kind of sweet, but it's not white sugar. And this recipe calls for 1/2 of a cup of molasses. Then you mix that all up, and it'll look kind of a light brown, creamy color. Then you're going to put flour in, and you have to put in 3 whole cups of flour, not heaping cups, just nice level cups. You don't want dips. If you have a hole in here, then you're not getting a whole cup. Just want to scoop out and get a whole cup of flour. 1, Another whole cup of flour, 2. And another whole cup of flour, 3. Then you want some soda and some spices. Now, when we measure out spices and soda and things like that, we don't measure them in cups. That's too much. We measure them in teaspoons and tablespoons. And you might have something like this at your house. This is my big tablespoon, and here's my teaspoon. And here's part of a teaspoon and another part of a teaspoon. I also have a great big one. Lots of people don't have a great big one. But these are the tablespoon and the teaspoons that we're going to use. So for our soda, we need 1 teaspoon, not heaping up, not a mountain and not a hole, just 1 level, even teaspoon of soda. That's going to make our cookies rise up a little bit so that they're not flat like a piece of cardboard. We want them to be a little bit raised up like a nice chewy cookie. And then you want some spices. This is cloves, and you might like to smell cloves. It smells very strong. It is a strong spice, so we don't use very much cloves in this recipe. Here's my measuring spoons again. Mine, it is the tiniest measuring spoon. It's 1/4 of a teaspoon. Here's my teaspoon. I could put 4 of those in, but I just need 1/4 of cloves because it's a strong flavor. Then for cinnamon, I need a little bit more. I need 1/2. That's like 2. Twice as much as we put in of the cloves. We're going to put cinnamon in. I'll bet you've used and smelled cinnamon a lot, right? My kids used to like cinnamon toast, and we used to put it on our French toast too. And then for this recipe, because these are gingerbread cookies, you need some ginger. There's some ginger. You need quite a bit of ginger. You have to have 2 teaspoons. Here's my teaspoon measurer. I need 2 whole teaspoons of ginger. And I'm going to put all that along with some salt. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Salt. Ginger is a pretty strong spice too. But because we're going to mix all these up with flour, it won't taste too strong. It'll just taste just right. And then you need 1/4 of a cup. And I forgot to bring over my 1/4 cup measure. It would be 1/2 of my 1/2 cup. Or I could put 4 of my 1/4 cups into 1 cup. So it's a little bit less than my 1/3. I forgot to bring that over, but we need 1/4 of a cup of water. And you're going to mix all of that together. And then you put some flour out on a board, a cutting board or rolling board, and you're going to roll your dough out. Roll it out. You don't want it really thin like a cracker, because then your gingerbread cookies will taste really crunchy, like crackers. You might decide you like that, but I like mine to be chewy. So I try and make mine a little bit thicker. I'm going to make mine about that thick, maybe even a little thicker, because I like my cookies chewy. So you roll out the dough, and then you take some cookie cutters, or if you don't have cookie cutters, you can even take a little knife and design what kind of cookie shapes you want. And you cut your cookies, and you bake them not for very long, just for 4 + 4, 8 minutes. 4 + 4, 8 minutes you bake them. If you make them really thin, then you'll have less time for cooking. If you make them thicker, then you'll have more time for cooking. And then you can decorate them. The way we do it in my house is we use a little bit of whipped cream and a lot of berries. Sometimes people like to put frosting on them, but I don't think that tastes very good. So I like whipped cream with berries. Or you can just eat them plain. They taste really good plain too. So you decorate and you eat them.
But the reason we're talking about that today is this makes lots of cookies. And you don't want to eat all those cookies yourself, so you'd share them. And just like with Our Ladies and their bread, you could decide who gets which cookies and how many to share. And if you have extras, you could take them to somebody else. So that's the gingerbread cookie recipe. I'm going to put it up here one more time. Be sure you wash your hands before you make the cookies and after you make the cookies. Wash your hands a lot so everybody stays safe. Our sheet for today, you know what the story is, right? Our lesson is to hear the word of God and obey it. And they want us to remember, be kind to the poor and you will be happy. That's our family sheet, but on our regular sheet, we didn't do the other side. Where did I put it? Okay, here it is. It says be, and it's kind of hard to read up here. There's some word up here they want you to look at. To the poor, and you will be happy. So be something to the poor. Can you see that word? I'll show you what it says. It says B K I N D. Be kind to the poor and you will be happy. And they want you to fill in the words down here on these shirts. See, the children have different shirts on. And the first shirt right here is a green shirt. Do you see somebody with a green shirt? Yeah, it's right here, isn't it? And it's a capital B, just like at the top of our page here. So then we would write the B in it. There's the B. You see I wrote the B in? Now they want us to write another letter in here from something somebody's wearing. Do you see the yellow shirt? What letter is on the yellow shirt? You're right, it's an E, isn't it? Can you see the difference? This E up here is called a lowercase e. It's a small e. And on her shirt, his shirt, they made a big capital E. Which way do you think we should make our E? I think I'll make mine like up here. But you could do it if you had this piece of paper. You could do it either way. There's my E. B. And if I wanted to make it capital, it would have looked like this. B. My E got a little bit. Make it a little bit darker so you can see it better. B-E says the word bee. Then they left a little bit of space here because there's another word. See up here at the top, there's a space between words. So it says bee, and then there's a space. And here's the word kind. And they want us to find the words that go in. What color is this shirt? Look kind of orange. Do you see somebody that looks like they're in an orange shirt? They're kind of tricky here because it kind of looks like it would be this one. It's kind of orangey. But if you look carefully, this one has some green stripes on it. The next shirt over has some green stripes, but not this one. Do you see anybody? Look way back in the back. Way back over here. See that person? Do you see what the shirt says? Yes, that has a K. I'm going to make a K here. a capital K, like on her shirt, and a small k, like at the top, a lowercase k, look kind of the same. So I can just make my K down here. Now we want the boy with the I on his shirt. A capital I is just a straight one, but a lowercase I over here has a dot on top of it. It's shorter and it has a dot. I think I'll make a lowercase I. Okay, we've got 2 more shirts left to find. This looks kind of like a purple shirt. Do you see anybody wearing a purple shirt? That kind of color shirt? It's sort of hard to see, but this girl right here, the girl with the pigtails, has on a purple shirt. What's that letter? Do you know? That's an N. And she's got a capital N. If we had somebody in our class named Nancy or Noah, their name would start with a capital, but when we put it in the middle of a word, it's usually more like this. Be kind to the poor, and you will be happy. Okay, we've got 1 more shirt to go. What is that? You see anybody that we haven't used yet with a letter on their shirt? Carefully. Go over by the swings. Do you see it? Yeah, there's a boy. He's got a D on his shirt. And they've got a capital D like David. But if we were to write it in a word instead of somebody's name, we would use a small d. So I'm going to put a small d down here. Now let's see if our message got spelled out at the bottom of our paper. Does it say be kind? It should say be kind. And what happens if you're kind? That's right. Being kind makes us happy too, doesn't it? Let's do one part of if you're happy and you know it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. That's right. Sharing makes us happy. Hey, what's that noise I hear? Well, here's the noise. Daffodil, what are you doing in the basket? Well, I'm just hiding in there. Why are you hiding in the basket? I'm going to surprise my friend Lulu. You are? Yes. Well, if you hide in the basket, how will Lulu know where you are? I'm not going to stay in the basket. Oh, you're not? No. Well, why are you in the basket anyway? I'm going to get the basket full of food to give to my friend Lulu. Oh, is Lulu sick? Yes, she's not feeling very well, and I'm going to get her some food. Could you help me look for some? Well, yes, I could. What kind of food do we need? Oh, she likes bugs. Ooh, I don't think I'm going to go looking for bugs. You know, there aren't very many bugs out right now because we have a lot of snow. Oh, well, I could look for some other things. Maybe you could get something for Lulu's people. Well, maybe I could. Are they having a hard time staying inside? Yes, they are. Nobody can go out right now very easily. That's right. We're all having to stay inside so people don't get sick. Yes, so some people don't have enough food. Well, that's right. How kind of you to think of Lulu. And we could look for some food for her friend, too. Okay, let's go look in the pantry. You know, I was going to do that today. I was going to look in my pantry and see if I could find some food. And so I have some out here on the table to share with the children. Oh, sardines. Yeah, Lulu probably liked those. Well, boys and girls, what I did was I went to my pantry where I keep my food, and I looked to see what do I have extra of. And I had more sardines than I needed. And so I had to look carefully. And almost all food has a date on it. And this date says it is best used by November of 2021. So this food is good for somebody to eat. It's not too old. So I'm going to put that in the basket, and I can take this food to the food bank. Let's see what else I found. Oh, okay, let's see. You know, I have grandchildren, and they like to eat these soup things, soup in a little container. And my grandkids can't come over very easily now because everybody's staying home. So I could give this to somebody else who has kids and they need to feed them. But I have to look at the date. What does it say on the bottom? It says best used by September of 2020. So this is still good food. I'm going to put it in my basket. Oh yeah, the basket's getting full. Well, let's see what else I found. I found some tuna fish, and it had a good date on it, so I can put some tuna fish in. And here's some balsamic vinegar. This is good for salad. Sometimes people use it in cooking, but mostly I use it on salad. It's sugar-free balsamic vinaigrette. And you know what? I have lots of salad dressing, and I'm not having a lot of company. So I have extra. I'm going to put it in to give to somebody else. Here's some chicken broth. The date on my chicken broth says that next month. It has to be used by next month. I have a lot of chicken broth in my house, and some of it I'm going to use, but I'm not going to use it all. And if I don't use this by next month, I should throw it out because it's too old. So I really want to give this away to somebody at the food bank. So those are some of the things I found at the food bank. I think Lulu's family will be really happy with that. Well, I'm glad you do, and I'm glad you thought about sharing. You know, when we share with other people, it makes us happy too, because we know we're helping. We can share things we bake, we can share our clothes, we can even share food, right? Yes, we can. And you know what? Our church is doing some saving and sharing of food for other people right now. And here's where they say people can take it. Go to the food bank and you can drop your food off. There's the address, 725 26th Avenue. And also, if your family needs food, you can go to Stone Soup Cafe on Gaffney or to the food bank, and they will give you food. That's how we share. Some people need food and some people have extra food. So one thing you could do with your family is right now, you could ask your mom or dad, can we look and see if we have any extra food to give away? Or if you need food, you could go and tell your mom and dad about the food bank and the food pantry. It makes us happy when we share. It's a good story today, isn't it? You know, our church has people who share too, and they also have people that are like those 7 men that were picked to help make sure everybody had enough. In our church, we call those the elders. Someday you might get to meet some of the elders, or maybe somebody in your family is even one of the elders in the church. We're so lucky to have our church, but we're especially lucky that we had Jesus to show us how to share and to help us learn that we can give away and still be really happy. The more we give, it seems like the more we get back. Okay, I hope you have a really good week and find some things to share. Bye now.